closing while touch typing. So today I'm going to make a reading list. I'm going to do my sustainability essay. And right now, I'm just going to press this.
You know it serves your needs. You know you can afford it. It's only a matter of time before you do it. Let's get this done. Reach your hand out with an open hand, assuming a handshake, for agreement, shut up, then you get signatures. See, there comes a time in every deal where it basically comes down to this: moving toward an agreement with assumption. Look the buyer in the eye, reach over with an open hand, quit talking, get the buyer to shake your hand. Keep it out there as long as you have to. Do not say a word. You need to drill this, practice it, rehearse it. You're going to feel uncomfortable when they don't shake your hand. Handshake close. You know it serves your needs. You know you need the product. You know you can afford it. You know it's only a matter of time before you do it. Hey, let's get this done. Reach out with an open hand, assume a handshake. Shut up. Additional service close. While I have done everything I can do for you in the money, I'm willing to offer to give you additional service beyond what we and I would normally commit to, like annual free service checks, personal visits, for instruction by our staff, a call to you weekly to make sure you're getting exactly what you need from your new investment. But what I need from you is a signature here, here, and here. This additional service clause. Service to most people is worth more than a discount. Discounts have no long-term value and should be avoided except in rare occasions where the buyer is only price sensitive. What you want is value exchange rather than a price reduction. So use additional service in order to give the buyer what will cause him to feel like a winner. It will cause them to feel like a winner by being provided with added value to your offer. Additional service clause goes like this: while I've done everything that I can do for you in the money, I'm willing to offer to give you additional service beyond what we would normally commit to, like annual free service checks, personal visits for instruction by staff, a call to you weekly, access to our 800 number. And we just make a list of all the extra additional service. Now I need your okay here and here. This is called the pressure close, number one. Yes, the pressure close. Man, you pressure me? Not yet, John. But trust me, I am willing to resort to pressure in order to get this done tonight. I need your approval here and here. This acknowledges and confirms your willingness to go there if necessary. Why not just admit it, man? Hey, I'll go there if I have to, my friend. There's nothing wrong with using a little pressure in the right amount when your prospect is unable or unwilling to make a decision. Look, more transactions are lost because of the unwillingness to apply pressure than are lost because of anyone using pressure. Being prepared to handle the resistance to pressure will allow you to continue to use pressure. You understand? Being prepared to handle resistance to pressure allows you to actually use pressure. Man, you pressure me? Not yet, sir, but trust me, I am willing to resort to it in order to get this done tonight. I need your help. I need your approval. I need your signatures here, here, and here. Most of the time, people are gonna laugh at you. You're good, son. Man, hey, you want a job? I'd like to hire you. I need more guys like you. You're gonna get respect from people by going all the way with them, by telling them the truth. Hey, are you willing to pressure me to get my business? Because if you're not, you're probably not gonna get my business. Pressure close number two. Man, you pressure me? Sir, please don't confuse my enthusiasm, my insistence, and my confidence in my proposal with pressure. I'm confident that this is the right thing for you to do. Now let's do this. So when he says, are you pressuring me? Swiftly answer the question with a smile on your face that your prospect is confusing pressure with enthusiasm. No one resents someone that's not confident and excited. You would never blame a child for pressuring a parent. You know, you're on aisle 6 and he wants candy. You pressure me, little guy? He'd be like, you're right, I'm pressuring you. Give me some candy. Right? So look, sir, don't confuse my enthusiasm, my insistence, and my confidence, my dedication, and my love for my product and my job. Don't confuse that with pressure. But look, I'm confident it's the right thing for you. I know it's the right product.
Nice,
I know you can
okay.
afford it. I know you'll never regret it. Now let's do this. Pressure closed. Number three. Are you pressuring me? Not yet, but don't think I won't resort to it. If you prove yourself incapable of not making a decision, not doing the right thing, not getting this for your wife, not doing it tonight, don't think that I won't resort to pressure. Now, come on, man, let's do this. See, a powerful closer will acknowledge the use of pressure. Your willingness to resort to anything, if necessary, as long as it's ethical. Look, I'm being ethical here, man. Guy wants to buy a diamond ring for his fiance. I'm selling diamonds. I'm 26 years old, and he's like, that's a lot of money. I can't do it. I got to think about it. Hey, man, I keep working the deal. I'm trying to convince him to do it. I'm going for the close. Graham, you pressure me? Hey, not yet, but don't think I won't resort to it. If you prove yourself incapable of doing the right thing for your girl, for your fiance, this chick is hot, man. You need to do this. She deserves this ring. Now let's do this. Now give me a credit card and let's get it done. See, that's not pressure. That's enthusiasm. Remember, in this situation, your buyer prospect is questioning what is happening, not objecting to it. They're asking you, you pressure me? That doesn't mean they're objecting to it. You got that close? You get it? Grant, you pressure me? Not yet, but don't think I won't resort to it. If you prove yourself incapable of doing the right thing and pulling the trigger tonight and getting this product, hey man, I will go there. Let's do this. Rash decision close. Grant, I don't make rash decisions. I understand the reality is it'd be impossible at this point to consider any decision you make at this point rash. You and I have met on 3 occasions regarding this proposal. You, your staff, and my people have spent hours considering the possibilities. Man, we're a long way from rash. Let's do this. I need your approval here and here. See, this is your prospect's last thread of attempt to convince you not to make a decision. And your response to this, Grant, we don't make rash decisions, is based on how reasonable you are with the facts. Look, most of the time when this happens, we don't make rash decisions. You've spent more than adequate time with people. They've taken too much time, not too little. They're not being rash. They're spending too much time in procrastination. So you want to chuckle, you want to smile, and you want to deliver this close and watch the magic. Grant, we don't make rash decisions. Sir, I understand the reality is it'd be impossible at this point to consider any decision you make at this point rash. You and I have met on 3 occasions. You, your staff, and my people have spent hours considering the possibilities. Come on, man, let's do this. Rash decision closed 2. We never make a rash decision. I agree with you, sir. I never make a rash decision. And saying yes right now could not be considered rash or snap. You have needed this product for years now. At this point, it is not only not a rash decision, but it is absolutely the most reasonable, logical, and frankly, the only decision you can make. I need your approval here and here. Show that you're not going to be thrown off your game here. Use the buyer's attempt at reason and close by stating the facts insanity. Most people don't make rash decisions. In fact, most people do completely the contrary. Most people take way too long making decisions. Don't be scared to tell the truth and close. Rash decision close number 2. Graham, we never make a rash decision. John, I agree in saying yes right now. Look, if you said yes an hour ago, it wouldn't have been rash. It wouldn't have been a snap decision. You've needed this product for years. At this point, it's not only not a rash decision, but it's absolutely the most reasonable, most logical, and frankly, the only decision you can afford to make. Now, I need your approval here and here. This is called nothing to do with decision close. Graham, we never make a snap decision. We never make a rash decision. I hear you, John, and I agree, but the reality is there's only a few reasons you won't do this tonight, none of which has anything to do with your ability to make decisions or your concern about rash decisions. May I share them with you? Yeah, Graham, what is it? Number 1, lack of confidence in the product. You lack confidence in the product, sir. No, I like number 2. The price or terms are not right. Number 3, you don't have confidence in me or my company. Which one is it, sir? Now, you've heard me use a similar close 3 different times now, where I'm going to break out the 3 reasons people don't buy: me, the equipment or the product, or the money. That's it. So, Grant, I'll never make a rash decision. I hear you, sir, and I agree, but the reality is there's only a few reasons you won't do this right now, and you won't do it tonight. None of them of which has anything to do with making a rash decision. May I share them with you? 1, lack of confidence in the product. 2, price or terms aren't right. 3, you don't have confidence in me or the company. Quit letting this delay the close and added time fine, put you in a position where you can't close this deal. This is a great close and will gain you the respect of the buyer when you use it. People don't make decisions because they lack confidence. That's the bottom line. They don't lack confidence in their ability to make good decisions. To the degree they have confidence in you, they'll make a decision with you. Either way, close. Grant, we're not making a decision right now. I understand. Grant, final. We're not making a decision right now. Hey, I understand, but either way, you make a decision. You'll either make a decision to continue with what you have or make a decision to get what you deserve. What I mean is, either way you spend money. Look, any decision you make tonight is the decision. When you say I'm not making a decision tonight, you're making a decision. See, either way you're going to spend money, either way you have an obligation, either way you make a decision. The question is whether you're going to reward yourself with something you want, something you need, and something you deserve, or whether you're going to leave here and continue on with something you don't want, you don't need, and you still have to pay for it. Either way, you're going to do something. See, your prospect, your buyer, this opportunity in front of you is already paying. Before they ever got involved with you, they were making decisions. Before they ever got involved with you, it was costing them money. The question really is, what are they willing to pay for? All decisions cost something. To do nothing costs something, and to do something new costs something. Use this close to correct the thinking of the buyer by explaining all decisions have a cost. It's called the either way close. Graham, we're not making a decision right now. I understand, sir, but the reality is either way you make a decision. You'll either make a decision to continue what you have, or you make a decision to get what you deserve. Either way you spend money, either way you have an obligation, and either way you make a decision. The question is whether you're going to reward yourself with something you need and want and deserve, or whether you leave here and continue on with something old, something you don't need, and you still have to pay for it. Thank you for listening to the Closer Survival Guide audiobook. This was written and narrated by myself, Grant Cardone, New York Times bestselling author, and your friend in sales and business, negotiating, closing, and making money. This book is also copyrighted by Cardone Enterprises in the year 2009.
Okay, so I want to have a quick listen to this Brian Tracy's book. Close That Sale by Brian Tracy. It's a very short book. I'll be able to compare it to Grant Cardone's book.
This is one. Gildan Media presents Your Coach in a Box, affordable, life-changing audio programs.
Coach in a Box.
Hello, I'm Brian Tracy, and welcome to Close That Sale, the 25 best sales closing techniques ever discovered. Introduction. Your ability to ask for the order and close the sale has more of an impact on your income, your self-confidence, your future, and your standard of living than that of any other factor as a professional salesperson. Fortunately, all sales and closing skills are learnable. At one time, the most effective salespeople and the best closers could not sell anything, but they learned, and so can you. Over the years, I've taught more than 2 million salespeople in 65 countries how to ask for the order in thousands of businesses and industries, from Fortune 100 companies to new business startups. Thousands of my students have gone from failure to success, from poverty to wealth, and from rags to riches with these techniques, and so can you. The more closing techniques you know, the more likely it is that you will close the sale in the course of the sales interview. Fortunately, closing is a skill. Good salespeople are made, not born. Most of the most successful salespeople in America and worldwide were at one time shy, insecure, and clumsy at selling. They became great salespeople by learning and practicing the essential skills of selling, including how to close the sale. And if you do what they did, you'll be successful too, and nothing can stop you. So let's begin. Chapter 1. First things first. You're about to learn 24 of the most effective closing techniques ever discovered. Before I begin describing these closes, you must first learn the antecedents to closing, what you do before you attempt to close the sale. One of Murphy's laws is that before you do anything, you have to do something else first. Before you close the sale, you have to do several other things first. Here are the 2 psychological antecedents to closing. You must know and use these if you want to be effective. You have to be enthusiastic. The first requirement for closing, which you've heard 1,000 times, is enthusiasm. More than half of all your closing effectiveness comes from your enthusiasm, your excitement about your product or service. One of the best definitions I ever heard of closing is that closing is a transfer of enthusiasm. In other words, when you successfully transfer your enthusiasm about your product or service into the mind of the prospect, he or she will buy, and a sale takes place. Believe in what you sell. It's essential that you have enough enthusiasm to transfer a sufficient amount into the mind of the other person. What this means is that the most effective salespeople know their product, They believe in their product and they love their product. They really believe that their product will really help their customer. If you don't believe in your product, if you don't love your product, if you wouldn't use it yourself, if you wouldn't sell it to your best friend or your mother, then you're probably selling the wrong product. Without this deep belief in the goodness of what you're selling, you can never reach that level of enthusiasm that must be transferred into the mind of the prospect to make them want to buy. By the way, I don't mean a rah-rah, jumping around type of enthusiasm. I mean what is called constrained enthusiasm. This is where your enthusiasm is kept inside you, like a boiling kettle with a lid on and the pressure built up, creating a form of dynamic tension and excitement or belief about your product. It isn't in how fast you talk or how quickly you move. It is instead an enthusiasm that is contained within you. Your source of power. Constrained enthusiasm has one of the most powerful effects of all on other people, more than you can imagine. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm." Expect the best. The second psychological quality you require is confident expectations. You must confidently expect that the person is going to say yes if you just ask them confidently and clearly. When you ask the prospect to buy, you must confidently expect them to buy. For example, you ask expectantly, "Would you like the red one or the green one today?" In other words, you don't ask, "Are you going to take one or not?" or "Is this what you had in mind?" Instead, you ask for the sale expectantly. And the more confidently you expect to sell, the more likely it is that you will sell. Confidence in selling comes from knowledge. It comes from practice. It comes from experience. And it comes from believing that the product can do what you say that the product will do. Confidence shows when you confidently expect the prospect to buy. Qualifying the prospect. In the process of selling, there are several other steps you must take before you close. The first step, of course, is qualifying. You cannot sell a product until you have thoroughly qualified the prospect, until you have made sure that this person is a genuine customer. Every one of us has been in a situation where we have walked into a store or onto a used car lot, and somebody comes up and says, "Why don't you take it?" or "Would you like to buy it today?" They try to close you without ever asking you what it is you want or what you need. They forget to qualify. 4 questions for qualifying. To qualify effectively, you have to find the answers to 4 questions. Question number 1, does the prospect need what you are selling? Question number 2, can the prospect use what you are selling? Many people may need a piece of high-tech equipment, but they may not be able to use it because of the people or the structure of the organization. Number 3, can the person afford the product? And number 4, does the person want the product? Desire comes before closing. Before you can close, the prospect has to have demonstrated that he or she has a desire to enjoy the benefits of your product or service. Once you've given your presentation, qualified the prospect in all 4 of these categories, and determined that he or she wants to buy it, you're in a position to begin closing. Much of the sale is made in the presentation. In some products, especially in real estate, the close is largely determined by how well you present the product to the prospect. Why the close is difficult? The moment of closing is always difficult. There's always a moment of tension. There's always a feeling of stress on the part of the prospect. This is a form of buyer's remorse in advance. Whenever a prospect reaches a point where he has to make an important decision, whenever he has to spend money, tension wells up inside of him. He experiences fear of failure. Every one of us, as human beings, experiences this fear of failure. The tension in the closing moments of the sale is caused by the fear of making a mistake, the fear of buying the wrong thing, the fear of paying too much, or the fear of being criticized by other people. What happens when a person feels this fear is very much like having a spear in the stomach. What do they do as a result? They back away. Whenever he experiences this fear, he retreats. He says things like, "Let me think it over," or "Can you leave me some more material? Could you call me back next week? I have to talk it over with someone else. I have to check it out first. I can't afford it," and so on. These are all different ways that the prospect tells you that, "I don't think if I make this decision, it'll be the right thing for me." The fear of rejection. The second major stumbling block at the close of the sale is the fear of rejection. It's the fear of the prospect saying no. Each of us, deep down inside, has a fear of being told no, a fear of being rejected. Because of this fear, we very cleverly organize our lives in such a way that we don't put ourselves in front of people who can say no. And by the way, if you have a problem with the word no, you've picked a very interesting profession to get into. Because 4 out of 5 sales calls end with the word no, even in the very best of times. In the finest economy with the finest product, 80% of the people you talk to are going to say no. One of the key factors in successful selling is to be prepared to hear a no and continue. When the prospect says no, I don't think so, you must be able to let it roll off your back like water off a duck's back. Rejection is not personal. You must realize that a no is not personal. It's not aimed at you as an individual. When a person says no to you, they're not saying no to you in most cases, they're saying no to your offering for a series of reasons, most of which you can do nothing about. Your job is to face your fear, confront your fear, do the thing you fear, and ask for the order. Expect sales resistance. Sales resistance is normal and natural in every sales conversation. At the moment of making a buying decision, this fear, this uneasiness, this tension starts to build up. Your job is to get through that moment of tension as quickly and as painlessly as possible. That's what good closing techniques are for. Just remember that closing techniques are not ways of manipulating other people. They're not techniques to get people to buy things they don't want, don't need, can't use, and can't afford. They are techniques to help people get past that moment of tension. The professional salesperson takes the prospect smoothly past the point of closing, making it easy for the prospect to buy. The unprofessional salesperson sits there wishing and hoping, and at the end of the presentation he says something like, "Well, what do you think? Have you ever done that? Well, what do you think?" And you know what the prospect says? His stress and tension starts to build. His heart starts pounding faster. His blood pressure increases. He feels the adrenaline pumping, and that fight or flight reaction comes over him. Finally, he says, "Well, I think I'd like to think it over." Or, "I think I have to talk it over with someone else." Even if he wants it, the tension is too great. This is why you must know how to ask a closing question. The tension on the part of the prospect that kills so many sales is why you must learn how to close smoothly and well. This is why you must know a series of closing techniques. Chapter 2, Closing on Appointments. The first closing technique is aimed at getting appointments on the telephone. If you use a telephone to get appointments, you know how difficult and frustrating it can be. Many people do not use the telephone because they've been rejected and turned down so many times. The very thought of telephoning triggers feelings of anger and frustration. As a result, they seek every other way possible to make contacts. The telephone, however, is the finest and fastest way to get good appointments if you know how to use it properly. In approaching the prospect by telephone, the first thing that you say has to be something that breaks preoccupation, grabs attention, and points to the result or benefit of the product. Here's an example. I used to sell sales training programs. I would qualify my prospects when I called to make appointments. I found that I could get appointments 9 out of 10 times with qualified prospects using this very simple technique. I would call up and ask the receptionist, who is the person who makes the decisions regarding sales training in your company? She would say, that would be Mr. Jones. I would say, thank you. What's his first name, please? Bill Jones. I would ask, could I speak to Mr. Jones? I would then say, hello, Mr. Jones. This is Brian Tracy. Would you like to see a method that would enable you to increase your sales by 20 to 30% over the next 12 months? If you're speaking to the right person, your opening question will be aimed at something that is relevant and important, and it's something that the other person needs or wants. What do sales managers sit around and think about all day? What's his first name, please? Bill Jones. I would ask, could I speak to Mr. Jones? I would then say, hello, Mr. Jones. This is Brian Tracy. Would you like to see a method that would enable you to increase your sales by 20 to 30% over the next 12 months? If you're speaking to the right person, your opening question...
Would you like to see a method that would increase your sales training by 20 to 30% over the next 3 months? Interesting. Right, 5-minute test. 2-page test. Start with a 1-page test. 8 minutes. Okay, I can do that. Based on average typing speed, there is it. Okay, so pretend me a bit longer.
will be aimed at something that is relevant and important, and it's something that the other person needs or wants.
Jeez.
What do sales managers sit around and think about all day long? Increasing sales. When you say, would you like to see a system that would enable you to increase your sales by 20 to 30% over the next 12 months? The first question that the prospect asks should be, what is it? That is where you go into the close for the appointment. When you are telephoning for an appointment, you are telephoning to sell an appointment, not to sell a product. The biggest mistake you can make is to start describing your product on the telephone. The prospect will almost always say, well, no, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, I can't afford it, I don't have the time, and so on. All you are selling on the telephone is 10 minutes of his time. When the prospect says, what is it? You respond by saying, that's exactly what I want to talk to you about, and I just need about 10 minutes of your time. I'll show you what I've got, and you can judge for yourself if it's what you want. If the prospect asks, how much is it? This is the way you handle it. You say, Mr. Prospect, if it's not exactly what you're looking for, there's no charge at all. This is a very powerful response. Get the price issue out of the way immediately. If it's not exactly what you're looking for, it doesn't cost you anything. If the prospect then asks, well, could you tell me a little bit about it? I would say, well, that's exactly why I need just 10 minutes of your time. In 10 minutes, I'll be able to show you what I've got, and you can judge for yourself if it's what you're looking for. Remember that good prospects are always busy and hard to get to. Poor prospects are not busy, and they're easy to get to. If you call up somebody and you ask for an appointment, and they say, sure, come on over anytime, you can be sure the person isn't going to buy anything from you. The prospect may say, well, could you tell me a little bit about it? You say, yes, I would like to, but there's something I have to show you. As soon as you say the word show, you sidestep the request to describe it on the telephone. If the prospect says, well, could you send me something in the mail? I would say, I would love to send it to you in the mail, but you know how bad the mails are. Why don't I drop it off personally sometime this afternoon? If the prospect is at all interested, he will say, okay, drop it off personally sometime this afternoon. I would then ask, will you be there? Yes, I'll be there. I would say, okay, about 3 o'clock, I'll be in your neighborhood, and I'll drop it off personally. Don't mail or email information. When people say, send me some information by email or post, what they're really saying is, go away, I'm not interested. When you send it to them in the mail or by email, it either gets deleted or it goes right into the wastebasket. If you're going to send things in the mail, it's better that you put it in the envelope and throw it in your own wastebasket and save yourself the cost of a stamp. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking that when we mail information, we're actually making sales. But only sales are sales, not mailing out sales information that no one reads. You ask for 10 minutes of his time, and this is the key expression. You be the judge. You decide for yourself if this is what you're looking for. You repeat, all I need is 10 minutes of your time, and you can judge for yourself. This assures him that you will only be there for a short period of time. You assure him that you will put no pressure on him. You will just show him what you got, like a trader in the bazaar lays out his wares. If the prospect doesn't express some interest within 10 minutes, you'll be on your way. I found out that if you ask for 30 minutes, you'll have to wait for weeks, maybe forever. If you ask for 10 minutes, you can almost always be slipped in. Don't make the mistake of using the old high-pressure salesman's trick of saying, how about 10 o'clock today or 2 o'clock tomorrow? This alternative close has been used so many times that it just insults the prospect. Just say, sometime this afternoon or maybe sometime tomorrow. Be very flexible. Sometimes the prospect says, why don't you call me on Monday and we'll set up an appointment? What you say to him is this, look, I've got my calendar right here. Is your calendar handy? Of course, the prospect is sitting at his desk with his calendar handy. You say, let's set up a time right now. How about 10 o'clock Monday morning? Don't allow yourself to be put off with this, call me back on Monday. It's just another way of getting out, of seeing you face to face. The very best customers you will ever have are the ones you're going to have to fight to see the first time. They are also the ones who buy the most. When they try to put you off, when they try to avoid you by making excuses, what they're saying is that this may be a very good prospect. Somebody is going to get to that prospect and sell that prospect, and it might as well be you. Be persistent, be polite, and be firm. Say, all I need 10 minutes and you'll be able to decide for yourself. Just sell 10 minutes. If he asks you for details about your product or service, you say, it's too involved to go into on the phone, but it'll just take 10 minutes and I'll show you what I've got. Sell only that 10-minute appointment. If you cannot close on telephone appointments, you can't even get to first base. Resolve to become very good on the telephone. If you're tense about using the phone, if you're nervous, it's because you've had frustrating experiences in the past. You'll become more confident as you become more competent. Chapter 3, the approach close. The next close is called the approach close. You use this right at the beginning of the sales presentation or sales meeting. The purpose of the approach close is to get the prospect to make a commitment, giving you a decision at the end of the presentation rather than him saying afterwards, I have to think it over. The approach close is a technique you use when you have a product or service which is used and needed by almost everybody. Recognize that sales resistance is the highest at the beginning of the sales presentation. This is because we live in a commercial society. Somebody is trying to sell us something hundreds of times every day. We see, hear, or expose to thousands of advertisements each day in the form of radio, television, newspaper, internet, billboard, buses, and so on. Everybody's trying to sell us something, so we have natural sales resistance from the age of about 5 years. There is a simple and powerful way to overcome this natural resistance at the beginning of the sales conversation. You simply say this, Mr. Prospect, I'm not here to sell you anything right now. All I'm going to do is show you some of the reasons why people have bought this product and continue to buy it over the years. And all I ask you to do is look at the reasons why others have bought it and judge for yourself. You can then tell me one way or another whether or not these reasons apply to you and to your situation. Is that fair? I'll just show you why others have bought it, and you tell me whether it makes sense to you or not. The person will usually agree to this proposal. What you're doing is you're offering him a deal. The deal is, I will try to sell you if you will listen with an open mind to my presentation. The prospect says usually, okay, I'll listen with an open mind. You then go through your normal presentation. At the end of the presentation, the prospect cannot then say, well, I have to think it over. You say, Mr. Prospect, you promised you'd give me an answer one way or another. It's a very simple close. You promised you'd give me an answer one way or another. And from what you said, it seems that this product is just ideal for your situation. You can then go right through to the close. Chapter 4, the demonstration close. You then go through your normal presentation. At the end of the presentation, the prospect cannot then...
Approach
Chapter 3,
close.
the approach close. The next close is called the approach close. You use this right at the beginning of the sales presentation or sales meeting. The purpose of the approach close is to get the prospect to make a commitment, giving you a decision at the end of the presentation rather than him saying afterwards, I have to think it over. The approach close is a technique you use when you have a product or service which is used and needed by almost everybody. Recognize that sales resistance is the highest at the beginning of the sales presentation. This is because we live in a commercial society. Somebody is trying to sell us something hundreds of times every day. We see, hear, or expose to thousands of advertisements each day in the form of radio, television, newspaper, internet, billboard, buses, and so on. Everybody's trying to sell us something, so we have natural sales resistance from the age of about 5 years. There is a simple and powerful way to overcome this natural resistance at the beginning of the sales conversation. You simply say this, Mr. Prospect, I'm not here to sell you anything right now. All I'm going to do is show you some of the reasons why people have bought this product and continue to buy it over the years. And all I ask you to do is look at the reasons why others have bought it and judge for yourself. You can then tell me one way or another whether or not these reasons apply to you and to your situation. Is that fair? I'll just show you why others have bought it, and you tell me whether it makes sense to you or not. The person will usually agree to this pretty good time. The purpose of the approach close is to get the prospect to make a commitment, giving you a decision at the end of the presentation rather than him saying afterwards, I have to think it over. The approach close is a technique you use when you have a product or service which is used and needed by almost everybody. Recognize that sales resistance is the highest at the beginning of the sales presentation. This is because we live in a commercial society. Somebody is trying to sell us something hundreds of times every day. We see, hear, or expose to thousands of advertisements each day in the form of radio, television, newspaper, internet, billboard, buses, and so on. Everybody's trying to sell us something, so we have natural sales resistance from the age of about 5 years. There is a simple and powerful way to overcome this natural resistance at the beginning of the sales conversation. You simply say this, Mr. Prospect, I'm not here to sell you anything right now. All I'm going to do is show you some of the reasons why people have bought this product and continue to buy it over the years. And all I ask you to do is look at the reasons why others have bought it and judge for yourself. You can then tell me one way or another whether or not these reasons apply to you and to your situation. Is that
You
fair?
can tell me.
I'll just show you why others have bought it, and you tell me whether it makes sense to you or not. The person will...
I'm going to show you why others have bought it, and you can tell me if this makes sense to your situation or not.
I'm not here to sell you anything right now. All I'm going to do is show you some of the reasons why people have bought this product and continue to buy it over the years. And all I ask you to do is look at the reasons why others have bought it and judge for yourself. You can then tell me one way or another whether or not these reasons apply to you and to your situation. Is that fair? I'll just show you why others have bought it, and you tell me whether it makes sense to you or not. The person will usually agree to this proposal. What you're doing is you're offering him a deal. The deal is, I won't try to sell you if you will listen with an open mind to my presentation. The prospect says usually, okay, I'll listen with an open mind. You then go through your normal presentation. At the end of the presentation, the prospect cannot then say, well, I have to think it over. You say, Mr. Prospect, you promised you'd give me an answer one way or another. It's a very simple close. You promised you'd give me an answer one way or another. And from what you've said, it seems that this product is just ideal for your situation. You can then go right through to the close. Chapter 4, the demonstration close. An important closing technique that you can use right at the beginning is called the demonstration close. It's very effective. You can use this close in almost any situation. The demonstration close is what you use to qualify the prospect with your opening words and to get a clear statement from the prospect that he is in a position to buy and pay for this product. We used to use this close in selling mutual funds. We say, Mr. Prospect, if I could show you the very best investment you've ever seen, are you in a position to put $5,000 into it right now? The The prospect might say, well, I don't know, I haven't got $5,000 right now. Could you invest more? Well, I don't know. How about 3? Well, yes, I could invest 3,000. So if I could show you the best investment you've ever seen, you could put $3,000 into it. What you've done now is you've changed the focus of the discussion. The discussion is no longer about whether or not the prospect listens to your presentation. The focus of the discussion is, can you demonstrate or prove that you actually have an investment or product that is as good as you say? Chapter 4, the demonstration close. An important closing technique that you can use right at the beginning is called the demonstration close. It's very effective. You can use this close in almost any situation. The demonstration close is what you use to qualify the prospect with your opening words, and to get a clear statement from the prospect that he is in a position to buy and pay for this product. We used to use this close in selling mutual funds. We say, Mr. Prospect, if I could show you the very best investment you've ever seen, are you in a position to you can use this close in almost any situation. The demonstration close is what you use to qualify the prospect with your opening words, and to get a clear statement from the prospect that he is in a position to buy and pay for this product. We used to use this close in selling mutual funds. We say, Mr. Prospect, if I could show you the very best investment you've ever seen, are you in a position to put $5,000 into it right now? The prospect might say, well, I don't know, I haven't got $5,000 right now. Could you invest more? Well, I don't know. How about 3? Well, yes, I could invest 3,000. So if I could show you the best investment you've ever seen, you could put $3,000 into it. What you've done now is you've changed the focus of the discussion. The discussion is no longer about whether or not the prospect listens to your presentation. The focus of the discussion is, can you demonstrate or prove that you actually have an investment or product that is as good as you say? Another thing you can say is, Mr. Prospect, if I can show you the best sales training system that you've ever seen, are you in a position to commit yourself to it right now? The prospect says, well, if it's that good, I can make a decision right now. You then go through your presentation. At the end of the presentation, the prospect can't say, well, I have to check with the boss, I have to talk to Harry, I have to check our budget. He has told you in advance that he can make the decision if he's happy with your presentation. He's already said, yes, I have the money. Yes, I'm qualified. Yes, I'm in a position to make a decision. So a good, strong opening question that grabs attention and offers to give the prospect exactly what he wants is very powerful. If your question is well phrased, the only question he should ask is, what is it? You should say, tell me more about it. If I could show you exactly what you're looking for, are you in a position to make a decision today? In real estate, for example, I've seen this close used over and over again. One of the first questions you should ask people when you take them out is, if we could find the exact house you're looking for at a price that makes sense to you, when would you want to take possession? Ask them as you get into the car. They may tell you that they don't know. They may tell you that they're not in the market at all. They are just taking up your time looking at houses because they have some spare time. This is not an invasive question. It's not a rude question. Your time is valuable, and you're entitled to ask if this prospect is ready, willing, and able to buy if they find what they're looking for. Chapter 5, the hot button close. The hot button close is considered by many sales professionals to be the most powerful closing technique of all. The hot button close is based on the fact that 80% of the buying decision is determined by 20% of the product features and benefits. In my experience, probably 90% of the buying decision is determined by about 10% of the product features. It is up to you to find the hot button, the key benefit of your offering that is what the prospect wants more than anything else. You then push this hot button over and over again. Every time you mention the hot button, the prospect's desire to own your product or service goes up. Every time you talk about something that is not really important to him, his desire to purchase goes up.
Gosh.
Good salespeople are those who question skillfully
So
and
I
listen
have
carefully
no
to questions.
idea.
They listen for what is called the Freudian slip. The Freudian slip concept says that if you ask enough questions and give prospects enough opportunity to talk, they will tell you everything that you need to know
I
to make a
just
sale.
did it.
That's why the old saying, telling is not selling, is true. You're only really selling when you are asking questions and giving them the opportunity to tell you what they're looking for, what they want, what they need, what they're concerned about, what their
Telling
worries are.
is not
You're only
selling.
really selling when you are listening attentively. The more you ask questions and listen, the more likely it is that the prospect will say, this is what I'm looking for. This is the key benefit. There's a key benefit for every product or service that a prospect must be assured of receiving before he can buy. Until he hears or sees that key benefit, he won't make the buying decision. One of my favorite stories is about a real estate agent who takes a couple to see a home for sale. It's an old house. It's what they call a starter home, a pre-owned starter home, one that requires lots of work, a handyman special. The real estate salesman and the couple pull up to the house. In the backyard, there's a beautiful flowering cherry tree. And the salesman asks the couple, what do you think of this house? The wife says, Harry, look at that beautiful flowering cherry tree. Ever since I was a girl, I wanted to have a house with a beautiful flowering cherry tree in the backyard. And Harry says, shut up. You know how Harry is. He always says, shut up. They get out of the car and go into the house. The salesman is no dummy. He walks in behind them. Harry, Mr. Tough Guy, comes in and immediately says, look at this, you'll have to replace the steps. The salesman says, yes, but look at that beautiful flowering cherry tree out in the yard. They walk into the house and Harry says, the carpet's worn out, it'll have to be replaced. Yes, the salesman says, but from here you can see that beautiful flowering cherry tree, Mrs. Smith. As they walk through the house, they say, look at this living room. They will have to put in new baseboards and new lights. Yes, but look at the beautiful view you have of that lovely flowering cherry tree from this room. This happens with almost every room they go into. The kitchen needs new plumbing. Yes, but you can see that beautiful flowering cherry tree out the window. The bedrooms are too small. Yes, but look at that view of the beautiful flowering cherry tree from the bedroom. At the end of the presentation, Mrs. Smith, who makes the buying decision in every home purchase, says, Harry, I sure do love that beautiful flowering cherry tree. This was the hot button, and they eventually bought the house because of that flowering cherry tree. Your job is to discover and then push the hot button over and over again. What amazes me is that salespeople will go out and talk, but will not ask enough questions to find out the prospect's hot button. The prospect will say, I'm really interested in a house with a pool. The salesperson will say, isn't this a beautiful yard? Yes, but it doesn't have a pool in it. Here's a beautiful house. You could put a tennis court over there. Yes, but it doesn't have a pool. This house has a wonderful basement. Yes, but it doesn't have a pool. The prospect keeps saying, what I want is a pool. As a professional, you listen for that hot button and you build your selling efforts around that. Until you know the hot button, it's almost impossible for you to make the sale. Chapter 6, the trial close. The trial close is a technique that a professional salesperson asks throughout the presentation to find out how well he's doing. It's also called the check close. You use it to check your progress. You present a part of your product or service offering, and then you ask, what do you think of this so far? Does this make sense to you? Is this what you're looking for? Is this what you had in mind? Is this an improvement on what you're doing right now? These are all trial closes. The best thing about a trial close is that the prospect can answer no, and it doesn't end the presentation. For example, you could ask, is this the sort of layout that you're looking for? The prospect might say, no. You can then say, well, that's good to know. We have several other layouts. You can ask, do you like this color? If the prospect says, yes, you know you're getting closer to a sale. If the prospect says, no, I don't like that color, you can say, well, that's all right. We have several other colors available.
Thanks for watching, guys. Not the most successful today, but you know, I did it.